Welcome to the Manuchehri podcast. Over the last 30 years, it has been my joy to assist humanity in aligning with their magnificence so they may heal, discover their natural gifts, and communicate with loved ones living on the other side. May you also experience delight while we dance in the powerful, intuitive world of energy. Let's get going. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast, or welcome if this is your first time to my podcast. I am a psychic, a healer. That's how I actually entered the energy awareness world, was through energy medicine. So I can move energy in people's bodies and teach them how to move energy and help them to heal their bodies. And then I found out I was a medium, which is not that uncommon when people work in energy as energy workers, because people who are living on the other side are energy. It's not uncommon for energy workers to become mediums. And the same is true for mediums who are talking to people who've crossed over and translating for their loved ones. It's not uncommon for them to start seeing energy inside their patients' bodies or their clients' bodies and talking to them about healing and awareness and consciousness. So it's something I've been doing professionally full time for nearly 30 years. So I've talked to a lot of people all over the world. It's been a great joy. So tonight I hope to, because it's evening here in Seattle on March 18th, 2024, which I think is important because some people don't listen to these podcasts when they're originally created. And today happens to be my youngest daughter's birthday. So happy birthday, Mina. I celebrated with her yesterday. We went flower shopping and out to lunch with no children, no grandkids, her kids and the grandkids, which are all one. There's two of them that she has. It was very restful and quiet. We got to eat our whole lunch together without an interruption. We've been to this nursery before together with the grandkids. And, you know, it's kind of stressful because is someone falling in the koi pond? You know, where did they go? Who needs to go to the bathroom, right? So it was so fun. We spent 2 hours there, but it felt like 5 because we could really look at every plant and talk about them. And then eat food. It was really fun. So happy birthday, Mina. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about energy and timing. I can't speak for all psychics about what I'm going to share. I was teaching a class earlier this evening, and it just hasn't left my mind, this beautiful understanding about timelines and timing. A lot of people are trying to get information about when is this going to happen in my life, and where is this, and when can that happen? You know, asking the how, what, when, or why questions, which the universe doesn't really understand those words because those are all based on time, and time doesn't exist outside of Earth because it's a man-made phenomenon. So as a psychic, because people ask me questions, I've been trained by my clients very early in my career because I didn't know I was going to do this. I was an oncology nurse when I opened up significantly. I had some psychic experiences, but not every day like I still do today. I would have them maybe every 5 years. They were quite profound for me, but then they would be gone. You know, they were pretty intense and amazing and beautiful, but then they would be gone. And I had my opening, if you will, my psychic opening while I was working as a nurse. And I think that hospitals are really interesting places. That's why we may find people who work in healthcare may have an intuitive bent, although hairdressers are very intuitive, the majority of them, because they have their hands in your crown chakra and your third eye. You know, that's where they spend their energy on these two energy vortexes. So it's not uncommon for people to be sharing their whole life story with their hairdresser. But the hospital is unique because there are archways and gateways open throughout the entire facility because souls are coming in and souls are going out. And so there has to be exit and entry points throughout the facility because someone could pass away at any point, and babies can be born in cars on their way to the hospital. So there has to be at entry point and even in the middle of a freeway, right? For a soul to fully emerge into the human realm. So I think that's why I opened up in the psychic realm. And I think that's also why I loved nursing so much. I miss the hospital every day still, is because the universe was trying to get me to a place where I could fully open so I could do this other work that I love even more. And I find more interesting and creative and surprising every single day, which is reading energy. So when you're reading energy for a timeline, you have to take away the how, what, where, when, or why. You've got to get rid of those words. They don't work. Even as an intuitive, at least, and I don't know what other intuitives, how they look at timelines, if they do. I'm looking at the movement of energy. So the first question I ask, people ask me questions all the time on every social media platform, actually. And they're asking me a question, which could be a how, what, where, when, a timing question. I will re-ask the question in my mind differently. And I ask two questions typically. The first one is, please express to me whatever's in the highest good about this topic that this person is wanting solutions about. Because I want to know what it really means to them. I want to know if it's actually even important, because a lot of times it's not important, believe it or not. Or their perception about the situation isn't helpful. It's not authentic. So that's the first question I ask, just so I can be on the true alignment of whatever it is that this person wants to have a timeline information about. That's the first question. And I'll get an answer as I'm talking to them. It's kind of a multitasking experience working as a psychic. And of course, many work that we do throughout the world is a multitask type of experience. And then I ask a second question. And the second question is about the energy, because it's not timing. It's about the flow of energy. It's about the biorhythm of a situation unfolding in someone's life. So I might ask, please express to me, what is the flow of this desire that this person has energetically, so I can get more information, because there could be something that that person needs to do within themselves, some healing they need to experience, or a different level of consciousness that they need to actually have before that thing could step in their life, or maybe it's going to happen tomorrow. And then I talk to students about creating some sort of timeline. I had a client once who was contemplating going to France, which is her home country, to see her parents. And she was trying to decide if she should go that year or wait another year or two. And I had a very strong energetic flow of knowledge that she should go as soon as possible. Little did I know that her dad was going to pass away when she was there. So luckily she got to be with him and be with the family, and then be there during a challenging time for the entire family too. So try not to look at months or years. Kind of stay in the biorhythm of the flow of energy, which means if you can pay attention to your own biorhythms, eat when you're hungry, sleep when you're tired, avoid clocks as much as possible, unless you absolutely have to use one. Try to follow the biorhythm of your own body and know yourself and your own flow of energy as much as possible, because that will give you key insight to other people's biorhythms. So when I was, reading the energy for that client about France, I had a feeling of urgency in my own body, not fear, because the universe doesn't communicate in fear, just like, yeah, let's go now. And I didn't even know her father was going to pass. Oh, I think actually she did tell me I was concerned about his health, but I don't remember. When you're channeling psychic information, you don't always remember, because one of the things that happens when you're channeling information, psychic phenomena, is you're present. You're in the present moment. And being in the present moment isn't something that is totally memorable, because there's one present moment, then there's another one, there's another one, there's another. They're all very fulfilling. They're all very satisfying. And you're not grasping at them, so to speak. So become aware of your own biorhythms. And even if you can't eat when you want to, you can't take a nap when you want to, or you don't go to bed when it's in your best interest, and you don't wake up when it's in your best interest, be conscious of what those time periods are for you. so that you are aware of your biorhythm, because it will give you insight to other people's biorhythms. Because really, when you're predicting the future or answering questions, even about the past, we actually read through our own frequencies. So I know a moment ago I mentioned like a timeline, like a 2-year timeline. If you want to play with the human perception of time more consistently, then pick a time period that's rather easy to work with. Instead of thinking about, oh, when in this lifetime will this happen for that person? That's a lot of time we're looking at. That could be 20, 30 years potentially. Kind of stick to no more than 2 years, even if you want to work with a year, and kind of maybe perhaps energetically read how one of your friends' years might be, or what will the next 2 years be like for them. That's kind of exciting. And when you get into that space where you're really thinking about the biorhythm and the flow of energy, but we're also sort of satisfying the human curiosity, you can learn really cool things. I was sitting next to my oldest granddaughter, who's now 6, and her mother had called me and said, "Hey, where are you?" I happen to be a block or so away, and because we live really close to each other. And she said, "We're at, the ice cream shop. Why don't you come and say hi?" And I don't get to see my oldest as much because she's now in kindergarten, which is all day school. Very sad. Whereas her sister, who's 3, they drop off my coffee, decaf, Americano, if I drink coffee or tea, at my house, 3 to 4 mornings a week, which is very kind. After Camilla's dropped off at kindergarten, then Alessandra, the youngest, with her mother, brings me a beverage. And I think the sadness of Camilla going to school full time and not having these morning quick connections, sometimes I bring them over their beverages and banana bread and croissants, whatever they want. There was a feeling of Camilla's biorhythm, which I tried to ignore because I didn't want to feel it. I didn't want to feel like, oh, she's going to love school. She's going to have so much fun. I just kind of tried to ignore it because I knew I wasn't going to see her very much. But then when I saw her at the ice cream store, because we hadn't seen each other in the, daily like we had been, and we had just this lovely cuddles and kisses and connection. And I was like, oh yeah, this biorhythm. I felt her biorhythm. She's growing up so fast. She doesn't even miss us like we think we would want her to. She loves school and she's having so much fun. So you'll be able to even predict experiences around yourself that later will logically make sense, but it's so much more fun to have a heads up about what's going on and to feel the biorhythms of yourself and those that you love or read for. It's really quite exciting and fun and interesting, and just makes life more interesting. Okay, so that's kind of like the beginning of our podcast today. And now I'm going to move to the voicemails. I know I call them the phone lines because I did radio for at least 14 years. I really don't know how many years, but we figured at least 14 years I was on the radio, and people would call into the show live. When I wanted to leave radio, and I really wanted to for about 5 years before I actually did, not every day, but I'm going, why am I doing, I don't really want to do this anymore or like this. I wanted a different kind of platform, if you will. But I was like, how are people going to ask questions? And we went through some different ideas, and then we found out there's, companies that you could leave a voicemail that sounds clearer than when you're on the radio. And, people, it's live. And so people were hiding in bathrooms at work as they're asking questions, right? Or they're in their car, or there's just some sort of interference. And it was challenging. It was also fun, though, to get the feedback after you read for someone. But I love this platform better. I can hear the questions so well, and I can take a little bit of time if I want to answer some of them more fully if needed. So I'm going to go now to the voicemail. If you want to leave a voicemail message, just go to my website, energyintuitive.com, and go to the podcast page. You get a free gift, which is a self-hypnosis. I believe it's about how to meet your spirit guides. I have lots of them, so we'll rotate them out. And then we will eventually get to your question. I'm grateful we have a lot of questions. It makes me very happy. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I hope you enjoy it.
Hi, Marie. This is Jane from Orlando. I recently had some Reiki sessions, and in the days after, I felt a heavy shift with ascension symptoms. And I was just wondering, was that in fact what it was? I am I ascending my consciousness with my light? That's what my Reiki practitioner was saying, that I am on my way with the feelings of ascension.
Hi, Jane. That's a really interesting question. And ascension is an interesting word. I like it, but I like the word conscious better because consciousness means that there's so many rungs of ladder of consciousness. And when you change your awareness, you have a different experience in life. You have a completely different perception. And so that's what we want. We want our consciousness to change. I think your consciousness is changing. I think you overthink and analyze and process it, which is not recommended. It's better just to have fun with it, to play with it, to be curious about it, rather than I wouldn't even try to become a certain place of ascension. I would enjoy where you are because you're going to move faster and quicker and higher because we're talking about vibration. So that means that we have a higher vibrational frequency of the experience. And we all are ascending, maybe at different rates, at different times, but it's a normal process to evolve, a normal process. When I was in nursing school, we were told, of course, that the human body evolves too, and that our pinky toes someday will not exist because we don't use them. We don't, not really. I mean, my Pilates teacher would like me to use them on that bar, on the reformer, so I can push out better, But we're always in a state of evolution. I think what's most important is to have fun and raise your vibration. And that's probably the only thing I felt a little lack, at least in your question, is where's the joy? That is a true sense of evolution. Okay, on to the next question.
Dear Marie, I am so excited to have found you. I listened to your beautiful interview with Alex the other day, and it moved me so much. I'm Tanya, and I'm calling from San Diego, California. I am a writer and a poet. I love my poets. I love my tarot students. I love my children, but I feel stuck. And my question is, how do I heal myself in relation to my marriage? We had some trouble about 10 years ago when we separated for about 10 days. 2 years ago, I made a really conscious commitment to take better care of myself. So how can I step into greater happiness and grow again in spirit school? That's what makes me happy. I love dreams and the dream world. My children helped ground me in my body again. I love yoga, but I'm wondering, I lost my mom in 2018. She was afraid of crossing over, and I helped her with that. But I wonder if there are spirit guides or mom, anyone who has a message for me with greater perspective about how to move on from the places where I'm stuck. I know there's a life of joy waiting for me, and I feel it in moments, but I'm very aware that I'm blocked, and I think my body is feeling the results of that. So any love or insight you can share would be so appreciated. I'm so grateful you're in the world doing this work, and I hope to take a class from you in the future. Thank you so much, Marie.
Well, first of all, it sounds like you're having a lot of fun with tarot and energy and awareness and consciousness of your children. I understand the whole marriage thing. I don't think you're exactly well matched, but I don't see you leaving this relationship. And I believe in free will. So I try to support people in the choices and the decisions that they make to the best of my ability. I think you just have to let your spouse be the way they are and you just decide to be happy. Happiness is a choice. It's not that you have to wait around until something comes to bring you joy. It doesn't work that way. You literally have to seek out the joy, ignore the logical mind, not get into anxiety, worry, or doubt or fear. And discover what brings you independently great joy, and then choose that, reconnect with it, participate in it over and over and over and over and over again. So I think you can have a better relationship if you just let your spouse be the way your spouse is and not want your spouse to be any different than I believe it's a he, than he is. That would be best. It's almost like you're disappointed. You want to have a different type of relationship, but I don't think your spouse is ready to have the type of relationship that you want to have. And I don't think they're conscientious in terms of your needs in that way. So can't you just enjoy them the way they are? I have family members that I can't have the relationship that I would want to have with them. Luckily, not my kids. I always feel like I gave birth to the family I wanted, and I'm so grateful. But I have a big family, and there are many people within it that I can't have the relationship that I would love to have with them. I can't have the depth. I can't have the conscious conversation. They kind of don't know what to do with me in a way. But I can still have a relationship with them. I don't live with them. I don't sleep with them. So that's a different story. But I can have more of a superficial relationship with them and enjoy our time together. And that's very fulfilling to me. Not everyone's going to have a relationship with us on the level that we can have a relationship with them. And I do see play with you and your spouse. So if you can make that relationship a playful one, not necessarily a deep, conscious, spiritual one, I think you'll have more success. And I would definitely stop working on yourself regarding this relationship. You've done way too much inner work about it when your partner, from my perception, also is not doing inner work. I mean, you're doing it, but they're not doing inner work. So it's kind of not fair where you're the only one doing the work and this person's not doing the work. I would stop. You've done enough. I would just have fun in this partnership, make it playful. If you don't like the word superficial, find another word that you like better, and choose the joy all around you. Your mother says that she blames herself for this, for your lack of satisfaction. She said she was stuck in a disappointment energy most of her life. And kids, she knows, kids model their energy after a parent or a grandparent, if that's who raises them, or if they were raised in daycare or with nannies. And kids, model their energy after whoever they spent a lot of time with. Because when a child is born, when a soul comes to earth, they forget their past lives. They forget how to run energy in the physical realm. So they're looking for mentors to follow certain energy patterns. So your mother says that she should have been more fulfilled herself. And she should have seen more of the light in the world versus the frustration. And she's sorry for that. She loves you very deeply, and you did help her enormously. I hope that's helpful. I truly do. Have a good day.
Hello, Marie. This is Aisha from Puerto Rico. Happy holidays. I hope you're having a great time. It's a beautiful time of the year. I just want to know about my spirit guides because I know they come and go and change, and I would like to know what the panorama is with them right now, and if there is any particular guidance that I should hear for this coming year. Thank you, and many blessings to you.
Hi, Aisha. I've never been to Puerto Rico. I heard it's beautiful. Like hummingbirds are on steroids, is what people always say. I love hummingbirds. Okay, well, you've got a lot going on in the spirit guide world. You have a lot of spirit guides anyway. I believe you have approximately 22 spirit guides, and that's the number you were born with. So everybody comes into the world with a certain amount of guides that they pre-picked before they incarnated into the physical realm. And you picked 22, which is a master number. I would look it up because I don't remember the definitions of master numbers, but in numerology, I would look up what 22 means because it's going to be specific. And even though you left this voicemail a while ago, it sounds like, because we're now in March and you said the holidays. So you also have, I just want you to know, none of that has changed. You still have what I'm about to tell you. You have about 12 archways open behind you. So you're in a profound year or several years of extensive spiritual growth. And they're telling me you need to pay attention. And I'm not saying I'm not saying you don't pay attention, but they're saying that you don't take your spiritual growth as seriously as you could. They want you to sit down more, meditate a little bit longer, which could be 5 minutes, right? They want you to kind of invest in what works for you spiritually, maybe doing a little bit of qigong every morning or do some yin yoga. They just want you to get out of your head, no thinking, even for 5 minutes twice a day is what they're recommending. So archways exist. Typically they line up behind people, and archways appear when someone is ready for more conscious growth, which could happen from a what we consider a celebratory or normal event on earth, like moving to a beautiful country or getting married, having a child or grandchildren. Things that could physically alter our life can help us grow consciously. And they can also, obviously, conscious growth can just happen from internal introspection about who we are and where we're going, and having a sense of our magnificence could truly engage in archways. So you have 12 archways behind you. They're spaced about 45 feet apart, and within each arch is another 50 guides. We have a lot of guides right now. I mean, that's a lot of guides. It's what, 700, 600 plus your 22. That's a lot of guides. So they're not going to go away. Your archways, I think 11 out of 12 are open, because archways have like a film across them. Because when the archway opens up, another dimension from a different reality other than Earth starts to beam light through it. Something that you need, something that's important, something that's valuable. Let's say if you were going to write a book, then there's a reality dimension that's really good about publishing, or speaking one's truth, sharing one's knowledge. And so the film or the curtain pulls back when the archway is open, and then the light from that archway shines upon you for a period of time. 11 out of 12 to be open all at the same time is significant as well. And I think your archways are going to be open between the next 3 to 4 years. So this is the time to get moving, get rocking, get shaking. If you've had a dream about something that's very significant for you, and I mean personally about you, success-wise or career-wise, I'm getting a ding, 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 ding. This is your time to really activate that dream and not push it under the rug, not pretend, that it's not valuable, and put some significant energy into it. 12 years ago, my book, Intuitive Self-Healing, was published by Sounds True, a wonderful publisher. And a few years prior to that, I felt this pressure. I had written the manuscript a few years before, and I tried to edit it. It took me 5 years to write the book. I wrote it when my kids were teenagers and they didn't want to hang out with me in the evening, and I was a single mom. So I would go drop them off at various places and then go to a coffee shop and write. And I wrote like 500 pages, but I couldn't edit it. So I asked one of my clients, who is a writer, if she would edit it. And she ended up coaching me about writing. And when I got the publishing deal, she coached me with that as well. She was really wonderful. She would write to me, "Are you sure you want to use that word?" She was very sweet. So it doesn't have to look like my picture, but you need to get serious about it. You need to put some energy in here. You have a lot of helpers. Let's get going. And let's not wait till the end of 3 years or 4 years. Let's start looking around and asking questions and putting some consistent energy into your future about yourself that could be related to the publishing world, because I brought it up and had a little bit of specific information about it, and that was very intuitive. Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
Hi, Marie. This is Kim calling from Oregon. Thank you so much for sharing your gifts with us. I have a question about energy centers. I've not really known much about chakras, but lately I felt very drawn to learning more about energy centers. I really just want my energy to be flowing so that I can be on an ever increasing vibration and frequency. And I've just been having this feeling lately that I have anger maybe blocking. And I think it's anger from old stuff when I was growing up and some stuff that happens with my husband now. And also I get horrendous headaches from stuff that's going on in my neck. And I've seen doctors and had injections and procedures, and nobody can pin down what the problem is. And so I was hoping that maybe you could just like take a look and see if you can tell what might be blocking me, and perhaps what is even causing this pain in my head coming from my neck. I so appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. I'm sorry you have tension in your neck and then it leads to headaches. So people who get headaches, and I mean chronic ones or migraines, cluster headaches consistently, it means that you're blocking your intuition, your psychic ability. It means you're very, very psychic and you're blocking it because you just don't want to have an awareness of it. Some people think when they recognize they're intuitive that they're going to have to follow all their intuition, and people kind of freak. I mean, I think people should follow all their intuition. I think it's really effective and powerful, but you have free will. Your intuition can tell you something and do something very different, and you have free will. You get to do whatever you want. So there's a wonderful link between the second chakra, which is where women tend to repress their anger, which is throughout their reproductive organs, their pelvic cavity. The second chakra has an emotion like all the primary chakras, and that emotion is joy. And it also has the only secondary governance for the human reality out of all the chakras. And that secondary governance is it governs career, intimate partnership, close personal friends, creativity, and wealth. I call it the juicy chakra. So women do tend to repress their anger there, but men who have a lot of feminine energy certainly could too. Men tend to repress their anger in their chest cavity. Women tend to repress grief here. Men put grief and guilt for some reason in their second chakra area. So here's the remedy. I'd love for you to throw a temper tantrum 3 to 4 times a week. Just lay down on the floor, kick and scream like you're 2, or throw pillows. Get a plastic bat and hit pillows on top of the head, on top of the bed. Some people even recommend you do a pelvic thrust where you make a grunting sound while you're hitting pillows, that are like waist high or whatnot. It's incredibly important to find healthy ways to be angry, to release it. I don't think there are unhealthy ways necessarily for many people, but so many people are afraid they're going to hurt others or hurt someone's feelings, which it sounds like you might have with your husband a little bit from time to time. This is a safe way to get the anger out of your body. And I think you should do it for the rest of your life. You've got a lot of powerful energy. It's okay to be angry. There's nothing wrong with it. We just want to let it out too. We don't want it to just stay in there and build. So there's a special relationship between the second chakra and the third eye, which is in your brain. When you let out this anger, I think you're going to have a stronger force of light moving through your body into your brain, which will illuminate your intuition. The third eye is not where intuition originates from. It originates from the second layer of the auric field, and the access is through the second chakra, or at least somewhere from the lower half of the body, hanging out in the lower half of the body. So if you start to release the anger and get into your authentic joy, you're going to have better access to your psychic ability. And then your third eye can project it to you, can show you images or auditory sensations or feelings. And I want you to start keeping a psychic journal and start writing things down so you can start to tell the difference between, what your mind tells you, which is not intuitive. Thoughts are not intuitive. And what your psychic energy tells you, which is very neutral, has a peaceful, calm, kind of surprising, curious way of sharing information. And even the information feels that way too. And then your headache can go away. So because the second chakra is involved, there typically is a hormonal connection. I don't know if you've ever heard of the supplement HPA Adapt by Therapeutic. Anyway, HPA Adapt, just look it up. Therapeutic something. I can't remember what it's called, the company that makes it. It's a great herb that helps to balance hormones. Doesn't have hormones in it. And of course, if you're taking medication or you don't know that much about your body, absolutely ask a practitioner, because I am not a neurologist. I'm not a doctor. I no longer have a nursing license. So it's imperative that you do it in a way that's healthy and beneficial for you. And this is for everyone who's listening too. Integrative Therapeutics, that's what it's called. That's the brand of HPA Adapt. It's a really good product. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. My name is Nancy. I am 44 years old. But back when I was about 17 years old, I was laying in bed. It was about almost 11 o'clock at night, and I had this sudden urge to go see my grandfather at the time. And I remember I had this cross up above my bed, and I was looking at it and kind of like telling myself, like, you're not gonna go see him right now. Like, he's probably asleep. You go see him tomorrow. Like, kind of like, what are you thinking? And the next day and the next morning, the phone rang and my mom answered it, and she started crying. And I knew that it was my grandfather that passed away. And to this day, I've always wondered how did I sense that, or who was giving me this message that not that my grandfather was going to pass away, but something like I needed to go see him. Right. So I've always wondered that. And if there's a way for me to, I don't know, anything that I can do to figure that part out. I'm so curious. And if you have time, the second one is about my sister-in-law who passed away 4 years ago from cancer. She left behind 3 children who are now soon to be 13, 11, and 6. And we all just miss her very much. And she was a great mom. And I want to connect with her somehow. I want to somehow get a message from her to the kids. And I don't know what the best way for that would be, but just would appreciate any feedback about that. Thank you.
You're welcome, Nancy. This is exciting. So when you were 17, laying in bed and you had this urge to go see your grandfather, it's really your grandfather was coming to see you and he was saying goodbye. You felt him. His soul was leaving his body, and he could tell, because when beings are leaving, when I call them people, even though we're souls, because I love humanity. So I just love people. I don't know why. I'm just in love with the human race. Everyone. I know it's very weird, but it's true. So when people are leaving their bodies, or, when the human form is dying and the energy is leaving, you get so wise. You can see so many cool things. You have an acute awareness beyond anything you had when you were in a body. So your grandfather could see who could feel him. And he went directly to you because he just wanted you to know that he was okay, that he was perfectly fine, that he was leaving, and that he loves you and he's going to miss you. And that's why you felt like this urge, like you missed him all of a sudden. I got to go see my grandpa, because he was showing you what he was feeling, that he was going to miss you and everyone else in the family. So this means you already have this gift. You already have this ability. You were born with it. Not that people have to be, everyone's really born with multisensory abilities, but some are maybe a little bit stronger than others. Like, we could all learn to play the piano, but not everyone is a concert pianist, right? Or I was in Costco. I know this is like diversing a little bit. I was in Costco a couple of days ago, and they happen to have like baby grand pianos. I'm not even going to tell you how much they were. They were out in the middle of the floor, and this lovely man was playing gorgeous music on it. He didn't have a name tag, so he was not an employee. He probably was shopping and went, "Oh, baby grand, I'm going to sit down here and play." And it was just stunningly beautiful, this is a talented person. So you have this gift, you have this ability. And congratulations. I'm so happy for you. And your grandfather knew it. That's why he stopped by you. That's why he didn't go to his children, because none of them would have been able to hear him or see him or feel him. Very few people allow their family members to have these awarenesses or forms of consciousness, or even just let it be open. I have my original massage table, which I never really got another one. So I had it for a very long time. I used to see people in person, and I had a clinician's table, a sturdy oak works table in here. It lasted a very long time. It was never uncomfortable, but I've saved it because it has such beautiful energy, because I believe one of my grandchildren is going to follow me in my work. I don't know which one yet, I don't care if it's all of them or even my own daughters. I could care less. I believe in people finding their joy and doing what makes them happy. So I've saved this massage table, which by the time, if it's one of the grandkids, by the time they figure it out, it's going to be really old. I probably need to wrap it better so I can store it better, but I want the good juju for them because I just have a feeling that one of the grandkids is going to follow me in my work. So your grandfather knew where to go. He went there. You naturally have this ability and you had this experience, which you probably at the time didn't talk to your family members about. Maybe you did, but most people don't. And so now you want to have this activity that you already have, this ability more activated inside of you. Great, wonderful, fantastic. I'm sorry about your sister-in-law. That's a hard one, when moms leave early or dads or anybody leaves early. It's hard because our human mind isn't prepared for that. I think we all need to have death and dying classes here in the United States because your family did very well because you have a really smart family. Like there's consciousness within your family, but there's also logic like, oh, this is a deadly disease. What's going to happen if she doesn't make it? Like I would think there were conversations like that happened, at least in some circles within the family, which makes it easier when someone's going to leave their body. When a soul decides to leave, there's really nothing we can do about it. They're going to exit. And this is not a permanent reality. It's temporary. So everybody leaves here eventually, including glaciers, right? Which are happy to leave. They've been here for how many thousands of years? And now some of them are like, oh, I can go off and be something else now. I'm tired of being a glacier. So you can have this experience with her. Of course, you're going to have to do a couple of things. Stop thinking. I sometimes feel like I'm a broken record between telling people to fall in love with themselves and to stop thinking. But please do your best to quiet your mind. Maybe start meditating 5 to 10 minutes a day, listening to white noise or doing some yin yoga, something quiet, peaceful. You can do it for up to 20 minutes. I don't think people should meditate beyond 20 minutes. I think most people fall asleep or go back to thinking and analyzing. I don't think it's very effective. And of course, not everyone falls into, the parameters of what I may recommend, but try for 5 to 10 minutes. And before you connect with someone on the other side, you will need to raise your vibration. Your sister-in-law, like your grandfather, live in a very, very high frequency that does not exist on Earth. But we can raise our vibration because we meet in the middle. I think that's why we call mediums, because we really meet in the middle. So you raise your vibration. That means you get happy, 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 which usually means don't think about your sister-in-law because that's not going to make you happy most likely, especially if you were near when she died and you've been around her kids and, it's not going to make you happy. So you got to think of something else. Maybe you can think of your grandfather because we tend to be okay with people dying at certain ages. Yeah, it's kind of weird because chronological anything doesn't exist outside of the human realm. Does not. So you're going to raise your vibration. That means get happy, authentically happy for you. That means you need to know yourself and what brings you joy. Like clearly my daughter knows that flowers make her happy. For 2 years in a row now, we met at that same nursery and went flower shopping and had lunch because it makes her, I love plants too. It makes her very happy. So you have to know what makes you happy so you can do it, think about it, feel it, talk about it, write about it, have it in your life. You're going to raise your vibration. Then your sister-in-law can lower her vibration as much as she can, not enough to come back to Earth right now. That's a whole different story, but she can lower her vibration so you can meet in the middle and start to have a communication, a conference. Stay in the lower half of your body. Consider taking a class on mediumship or energy awareness or psychic development so you can do some practices. I know I have practices on my YouTube channel, which this is on too, I believe, about getting out of your head and resting in the lower half of your body. I hope that's helpful. And your sister-in-law is great. She does miss the kids, which makes me sad because when I see people on the other side, very few show me sadness. Very few. I had a young man last week who showed me sadness, and it's just a rare thing for me to experience with people who've crossed. Most people are like, yeah, this is amazing. They love their family and they want their family to be happy, but they don't have that. Even parents that I've talked to who've lost, young children, their young children don't feel sad. Or in this case, a parent who's died young. It's rare, but she misses them. She knows they're in good hands, and she is very observant and very much a part of their life. And she will be the whole time that they are here. I hope that's helpful. Good luck.
Hi, Marie. My name is Leanne. I am from Pennsylvania, right outside of Philadelphia. And I have many questions for you, but I will start with just one. My first question is about myself. Do you see any leakages in my energy field, my auric field around me? And also, I guess the main question is, I saw you on the Next Level Soul podcast with Alex, and I watched all of those, and I came across your video, and I resonated with you so much because you said at first you were feeling energy from your patients. And I noticed when I first started my spiritual journey, and it hasn't been that long, about a year, almost a year, I started to remember things about myself, and I am really in tune with energy. I feel energy around me. I feel pain from some people. I feel ailments. I feel their anxiety. I can feel their tension. I can feel their stress. I do Reiki, so I've been using the energy that I feel to know kind of where to go and what to do, but I would like to be able to tap into that more, so I can help people more. And how do you suggest, or can you talk to my spirit guides and find out where I have blockages? What do I need to do to open up more, to be more in tune? What can I do to discern the energies I feel? Because I don't always know what they mean. I feel energy all the time, in my hands, through my body, different areas coursing through me, all around me. And it feels so good, and I love it, but I just would love to know what it means, and how to use this amazing gift for my highest good and for the highest good of everyone that I come in contact with. So those are my two questions, and I want to say thank you for this opportunity. It's amazing, and I'm sure everyone here is so thankful for what you do. And I'm so happy I found that episode on Next Level Soul. So thanks again, and I look forward to hearing your response.
Okay, great, Leanne. First, I really believe I talk to people's spirit guides all day long. I think that's part of the way that I get information. So a couple of things. Congratulations on feeling energy. It's normal to feel energy in your body all the time. Now, feeling other people's anxiety, pain, all of those things is, and this is based on my experience and what my guides taught me, because I'm a self-trained healer. I trained myself while working in the hospital. I know. I sat down with my spirit guides one day because I could see them and talk to them. And I said, I need to learn. Should I go to the Barbara Brennan School of Healing? Or Carolyn Mace was teaching like a 2-year program at the time. And I would have to travel, I think one to Missouri and one to Florida in order to train, for 5 years or 2 years or something like that. And I was willing to do that, even though I was a single full-time mother. I was just going to have to figure it out. And my guide said, you have a hospital full of patients. Let the universe teach you. So that's what I did. I decided not to do extensive programs. So that's number one. I don't know why I told you that, but there's got to be a good reason for that. Feeling all of those things that you described is helpful, because it helps you to realize that you have this awareness of other people. But we need your vibration to really calibrate faster so that you have the knowingness that someone is anxious, or the knowingness that they're in pain without you feeling it yourself, because it's not good for your body to have that up and down and in and out, and actually this feelings that aren't yours. It's not in your best interest. A lot of empathic people don't know how to, I'm trying to find the right words, to navigate the heart chakra. The heart chakra, which is a powerful vortex in the physical body, is meant to be neutral. That means it's not supposed to be over empathetic or sympathetic. It's the vibration of the heart chakra is universal love, and universal love thinks that everything's beautiful, including war and famine, because the universe thinks everything is gorgeous. So most empathic people don't know how, or are even horrified by what I just said, because they want to be these over empathetic, over worried, over concerned individuals to prove to themselves that they're good people, which they are. Old souls are very good people, of course. And so I say what most spiritualists would not say. I think you should get out of your heart chakra for a while, like maybe 2 years. You won't abandon it. Your heart chakra is already fully formed. It fills your entire chest cavity, but you've overused the vortex. And you have 6 other chakras, that primary ones. You have also 3,000 minor chakras, but you have, 6 other primary chakras that need your attention and your energy. So if you get happy authentically, this will raise your vibration so that when you connect with someone to read their energy, or when you walk past them, you're going to have the knowingness without the physical discomfort. I remember this one time, I was very blessed when I worked in the hospital. My supervisor encouraged me to lay hands on our patients, and doctors on 3 separate occasions literally wrote orders for me to do so, because I worked mostly the last couple of years of my nursing career as a charge nurse. And so I have, like 3 pagers on me. I'm really busy. And sometimes doctors would go, could you go do that thing that you do for Mrs. Johnson? Because other than one physician who was actually studying energy medicine, one of the oncologists, they didn't really want to know what I was doing. I remember I sat down with I wasn't sitting down, but I was standing in the clean room. The clean room, we're just hanging IV bags that haven't been used. And, like there's no blood products. There's just like tubing. It's this big room where you can go and get supplies. And he asked me, he was a male doctor. He said, so what is it that you do? He wanted to know more, because one of his patients always felt better after I went in and did energy work on her. And granted, healing touch is around the world and well known in most hospitals. So it's not like it's a foreign entity when it comes to most medical facilities. They've heard of energy work of some sort. So this physician asked me, I think I got 5 words out before he said, okay, I can't get any more than that. I'm like, okay, he goes, but could you please go do that to Mrs. Johnson? I'm like, okay, fine. But on these 3 separate occasions, when the doctors asked me to lay hands on their patients, I couldn't. I said, I can't. I'm so busy. I cannot. So they would literally write an order. And the one that I remember the most was that I was going to do some form of I can't remember what it was. Not therapeutic touch. Maybe it was therapeutic touch. Yeah, I'm going to do therapeutic touch. And they wrote an order. And as a nurse, you have to follow orders that physicians write you. It's part of your license. So of course I would, ditch my pagers and go lay hands. So I was laying hands on this one woman. Not under those circumstances. I just I would walk into patients' rooms. And when I'm a charge nurse, I would not have my own patient assignment. I would be helping the other nurses and other things on the floor. And so I would just knock on doors and say, can I lay hands on you? And only one person said no to me out of maybe several hundred that I touched during that time period. And this woman, of course, said yes. I laid hands on her and my whole body was riddled with pain. Riddled. It was very, very painful. And of course, she had cancer. She was sick. I was an onc nurse. And I said to her, because I was so shocked. It was like the first time I really got an awareness of how deeply I could feel another person. Because I had senses of it, but I didn't really realize. It was like the first, and she said, yes, I'm in extensive pain. And I go, oh my gosh, I know, I can feel it. And I said, but I looked at her chart, and her chart said that she had reported no pain, or pain within a comfort level that wasn't required medication. And I spoke to her about it, and she said she didn't like the medication and she didn't want to be on the drugs. So of course, I utilized some other people who, do pain management to talk to her so that they could find different ways or different cocktails that would not make her spacey, but give her a significant relief. So at any rate, you can see how hard that is on your body if you keep doing that, because to feel physical pain, you have to lower your vibration. And we're supposed to heighten our frequency and our vibration. That's what creates consciousness. So if you could get out of your heart chakra and not be so empathetic and hang out in your feet and start practicing creating a relationship with the second chakra, so you can get into your authentic emotional response system and have more of a knowingness rather than a felt experience. It doesn't mean that feeling, which is kind of cool in itself, honestly, to have a feeling that you didn't have 20 minutes ago and now I have a very different feeling in your life and it's about this other person that you're standing next to, is cool, but it's hard on your body. It's not good for energy healers to have that constant, consistent situation happening in your body. But I will tell you, if I'm not paying attention to the universe or I somehow am missing an important piece of knowledge about that person's body, I will have a felt sense of it. I was working with someone when I used to see people in person, and it was towards the end of our session. And I had no idea that this person had chronic, almost debilitating pain in one of their legs. All of a sudden, I think it was my left leg, started throbbing and had this deep pain into the hip. And I knew it wasn't mine because I had been an energy worker for a while by then. And I went, oh, that's so, I go, do you have leg pain? And she goes, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, I've been meaning to. Yeah, I've had this chronic, leg pain. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I could move the energy and address it and talk to her about it and give her my intuitive perception. So intuition grows when you stay away from the brain and don't listen to it. You do have a significant leak, in my opinion, in the first layer of your auric field, which is really, I call it the physical reality. It's a hologram about all of your own anatomy and physiology floating around you in complete and total health. It's the field closest to your body. And that field is supposed to tell your physical form what health looks like. It's supposed to tell your real organs and physiology what health looks like. So you need to get more grounded. You're not grounded enough, and pull up energy through your feet to feed your root chakra. You can find exercises in my book, Intuitive Self-Healing, which you can buy on Amazon or through my website. I hope that's helpful. Have fun and congratulations. I'm glad you enjoy it.
Hello, Marie. My name is Maraika. I'm from the Netherlands. My mother passed away 6 years ago, and on her deathbed, she told me she was afraid her mother would not recognize her on the other side. My mother was 1 year old when her mother died.
Oh, wow.
I told her, of course your mother will recognize you. Your mother will always recognize your energy. I hope I was right in this. And I always would like to hear if there are any messages for me, or tips or tricks for my greater good in life. I'll keep it short. Thank you very much, Marie. You are doing wonderful work. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. And you are very wise and smart. Of course, our loved ones recognize our energy. And when you depart your body, you can look any way you want. So if your mother wanted to look like a newborn baby or a 1-year-old, she could. That's what happens to me because I don't hear people's names, because I really don't care about human names. In fact, as I listen to all of your questions, we have a numbered system, and then I write down the name because I have to also delete them at some point. I do that because it's not going to make sense to me if I just look at the numbers, because names just don't stay in my head. To me, people look like energy. So in saying all of that, you're very wise. Of course, people are going to recognize the energy of a loved one. Most people are surrounded by their loved ones for at least 4 months before they leave their body, because beings on the other side know 4 years ahead of time when we're going to leave. They know 4 years before we're going to exit our body. They even know how we're going to die. There's so much knowledge outside of Earth that's free and available at all times about just about every topic you can possibly imagine. So our loved ones come and kind of settle around us about 4 months, or those who want to be there during that time before we cross over. Because depending on how we leave our body, we might be coming and going a little bit. Sometimes when people have an illness and they're, dying and they're spending more time sleeping, they're really exiting their energy. Whenever we sleep, our energy goes to the other side and gets recharged, and then it comes back in our body when we wake up. So, of course, your grandmother was there. Where else would she be? To see her child again in a way that they could hold each other and love each other. I'm sure your grandmother was the first person your mother saw as she was exiting her body. If she was, dying over a period of time, she probably saw her mother multiple times, and she may have thought they were dreams, but yeah, of course. So you obviously gave great information to your mom. So you have a wealth of knowledge inside of you. I would love it. And I want you to know that what I'm about to say has nothing to do with the ego. The ego is about fear. Whenever we feel fear or we think about fearful things, that's when we're dancing with our ego. So the definitions that are in dictionaries are inaccurate. We're supposed to love ourselves and think we're amazing and beautiful, handsome, incredible, genius beings, because we are. We're all part of God. We are God. That's just the reality of life. So if you could start to have conversations with yourself like that, like, thank you for my genius. Thank you for allowing me to pour my genius out in the world. Thank you for my incredible consciousness. Thank you for my wealth of omnipresence and my ability to hold profound light for the world, for the heavens, for all of existence. I want you to use language like that for like 5 minutes or longer every day. Say it out loud. Go into a lovely part of your home where you feel safe and comfortable to express yourself, and use language like that forever. And then I think you're going to start to notice a lot of cool and interesting things about yourself. Okay, great. Next one.
Hi, Marie. It's Joan calling from Lake Eerie. Thank you for all you do. I guess I'm just going to get right in there and say my question is for my guides. What do my guides recommend in terms of moving forward for me in my life and career? I'm a middle-aged woman whose kids are getting older, and I've been excellent at taking care of other people and really bad at taking care of myself. And I really need to take care of myself right now. I am not feeling great, and I'm frustrated and tired. And I know at this point, there's so many different things I can do to help myself, but I would like to know what my guides suggest that are the first next best steps forward for me in taking better care of myself and steps forward with work. So that's it, Marie. I hope you're doing great. You take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay, Joan, the first thing I heard is that you need to take a sabbatical. You need some time off. You need to rest. You are tired. And I don't want you to take what I'm about to say literally, because I don't like to, I really believe in manifesting and co-creating, and we can have whatever we want. I really believe that. But they're just saying, yeah, you really, really do need to learn to rest. Like, you already know this, but will you? So if you could take a sabbatical from work, you don't even like your job anyway. I mean, you may like it or you like the people, but it's not your life path. Like, it doesn't make you scream out in joy. It does not. So taking some time off to rest, and when you feel more rested, to be creative in your thinking about, well, what else would I like to do in the world? And I believe when people are following their path, and path is about family too, and creativity and play. But because we do all work on the planet, or most people do to some capacity, of course, our path is about work as well. And you don't have to know exactly what the next steps are. You need to feel fulfilled in work. And then when you get ideas about different career paths, ask yourself, would that bring me joy? Would that be a fulfilling thing? And you're going to feel it in your body. I think a part of you feeling these things in your body is to fall madly in love with you as much as you love everyone else. And don't call yourself middle-aged anymore. I don't know why I hear so many people, chronologically talking about themselves, and I don't think they should, unless they're excited about, like, I like getting older. My life is happier and better with every age that I move towards. It just happens to be a fact for me. Yeah. So fall in love with yourself, take a break, get curious. Your new career has nothing to do with your current job, in my opinion. And get creative and start asking yourself, would this bring me joy? At the same time, feel joy for a career that you don't know what it is as if it's already here. You don't have to know what your next step is for your career. You just need to feel satisfied and fulfilled as if it's already here. That's actually how we manifest, believe it or not. That is it. Okay, I'm going to take one more.
Hi, Marie. My name is Melissa, and I live in Kansas. I've just recently found you in the last couple of months and just signed up for a couple of your courses. I'm super excited about that. Anyway, my question is, what should I do? I love all things energy, anything. I've spent the last many, many years studying anything I could. I love it all. And I would love to. My dream is to open a little practice and have my beautiful dog come with me and just have a beautiful, energetic practice. And I actually did open a little space. It's a little small. Dog can't come, but I am glad I did it. I've had a couple of clients and realized that after those clients, I loved it, but I was super exhausted because I also live with and take care of my mom, whose mind is getting worse every year. And I pretty much do everything for all of us. It's just her and I and the dog. And I'm kind of getting to a point where I'm kind of tired of that. I'm tired of being around her energy. Nothing wrong with her. Whatever she needs to do. But I feel like I can't do both things. And when I think about doing something for myself, I always think about what am I going to do about her? Because I know I can't do both things. And maybe I can, maybe I'm just blocking it. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sure you get the gist. Any kind of insight or suggestions you have would be deeply appreciated. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
That's really fun, Melissa. I'm happy that you've discovered what brings you joy. And I think you can do both things. I think you need to have some help. If you have any siblings, and I don't care how far away they live, if you have them, or they say they can't help you, make them help you. You need to learn to receive. So when you're doing energy work, you're using your own energy. That's a no-no. All energy healers, all psychics need to channel universe life force energy into their bodies and then into those that they touch, whether that comes from your body or the walls or the floor or whatever. It doesn't matter, but you cannot use your own energy system. So you need to have help. Even have some grandkids come help, and you need to learn how to receive. So here's your new what if question. What if I easily receive all that I truly deserve? And maybe do some other forms of multisensory energy, like do some tarot readings, try different things. I'm not saying that energy work isn't your thing. You love it, but it's supposed to feed your energy. It doesn't mean that energy workers don't get depleted. I certainly had to change my schedule because now I do podcasts, I teach classes, I write classes, I do all kinds of other things. So I've, over the years, I used to see 25 people a week. Now I see 6. So I've dwindled down my practice because I could tell when I would get tired. In fact, when I get a cancellation, my assistants ask me, do you want me to fill it or not? And I can check in to see, do I need more of a break? Are there other things I need to do? Or can we, fill those vacancies, which typically is the answer. Or in the summer when I'm not teaching, I may see more clients because I have more energy for it. So I don't think that's really your issue. I think your issue is you're not good at receiving. So imagine what it's going to be like, how much energy you can move and stabilize in someone's body if you become more receptive. That means you need to fall in love with yourself, literally fall deeply and madly in love with you. You need to have a felt experience of that. So what if I easily receive huge amounts of energy? What if I easily receive all that I truly deserve? What if I'm happy and fulfilled? What if I learn to say no? What if I'm on the right track? What if everything is working out for me? I want you to start repeating these silently in your head all day long, these questions, because it will be critical and important for your expansion and evolution. And be open to other aspects of the multisensory world that you may feel more energized from. But this energizing could shift once you stop caretaking everyone, right? You have to say no. And it's okay to have help. And if your mother has resources, perhaps she can pay for some extra help, because there's nothing wrong with that either. I hope this is helpful, and congratulations. I'm happy for you. And thank you everyone for listening to the podcast. You can always find me on Instagram or Facebook. Have a lovely, lovely day, everyone. Bye-bye.